The youth are increasingly at the forefront of democratic change, shaping governance, advocating for accountability, and demanding transparency in public affairs. From voter participation to activism and policy engagement, young party people play a critical role in strengthening democratic institutions and ensuring that leadership reflects the aspiration of the wider society. This discussion explores how the energy, ideas, and actions of the youth are driving democracy forward and what more can be done to harness their potential for lasting impact. With me tonight to shed light on this is Felix Eigbefo, Special Assistant to Governor Peolo on social media. Good evening, Eigbefo. Nice to have you join me. Welcome to EBS tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, how significant is the role of Nigerian youth in shaping outcomes of today's democracy compared to, erstwhile generations?
Thank you. The youths, the current youths now, they are waking up compared to previous days of the youths. You see, we have social media, we have the awareness program. They are holding the government accountable. Because now the youths are now wise. If you go back to 2020 NSAS, you understand that the youth has woken up. Thank you.
How woken up are the youths? When you say they are now wise, were they not wise before? How wise are they?
Okay, when you give birth to a child, when the child is in 1 year, you cannot compare that 1 year old with when the child is now 3 years old.
Okay.
There are two different ball games there. As they grow, they understand the terrain. Now they now know that it's time for them to take over the country, and the youth are coming up. 2023 has woken up the youths. That is it. They are now wise. Now they are trying to play in the game, trying to let the people know that yes, this is the time for the youths. That's why you see the population, even the voter register, they have more of youths now.
Okay, now, has increased youth activism translated into real political power and policy influence?
Yes, it has. Because if we go back to what I said about the answers, you see that the youth woke up, as under 2020, the youth woke up and said, this is the time, through the social media. And now they are now holding the government of the day accountable. They are telling you, this, we need accountability. We demand for this. And we see the government are going back to their share, try to understand what they need and how they will play out and give us a good policy.
Okay, do you think that the youths are participating in governance the way they ought to? Like now you said they've woken up. Are they doing things the right way? Are they actually holding government accountable the way they ought to do it?
Yes, that's why I say they have woken up the right way. They are holding this government, even the current government is feeling it. The youth are coming up and telling them, this is our time.
In what way?
In what way? If you check the current, when this voters issue, and talk about this voters register, you see people coming up to vote and tell the government, this, we don't need this and we need this. If you check during the last protest, let me remember back to Edo State, when the governor said, people that are, the youth that was arrested, the students, they should be freed, because you understand that, look at what they are agitating for. Those that are genuine agitation, you allow them to go, because you understand that the youth has the power to do anything they want to do nowadays. Okay,
now, in what ways has social media strengthened or weakened youth participation in politics?
Okay, social media is not the new bet, it's not the new child now, because what is happening now is on social media. Even when the answer started from social media. You understand? They don't come to your house now. Even persons that don't have power before, but social media has given them power to speak. Social media has given them power to voice out their opinion and to hold the government accountable. Social media is not the new tool, not the new child.
Okay, are political parties genuinely creating space for young people, or are they just using them for mobilization, like you said? When election comes up, they use this youth, to gain access to the office they want to get to, or Are they actually creating space for this youth in governance?
No, normally political party, it's not all political party that do encourage the youth.
Okay.
You know, sometimes they will put their price tag. Like last time presidential election, it was 100 million naira. And such thing can discourage the youth. But in all, we should not be discouraged. We should work very soon. The policy will fight through social media so they can bring down those prices so that people, youth can contest and not be that to protest. You know, the youth sometimes they are being used to protest and do all that havoc. But very soon, we get back to that place where the price will go down. The youth will now have the day that we are looking at.
Now, you talked about people using youth to protest. Are youths actually protesting in the right way? Are they protesting the way they ought to? Do you think they should only channel, you know, their whatever it is they want through protesting, or should they resort through dialogue to going to meet these people in governance one-on-one instead of taking to the streets? What's your advice to youths?
No, sometimes if you take to the streets, it's what some government understand is the truth. Why sometimes dialogue is better. When you dialogue with the people, when the youth go for dialogue, sometimes dialogue have the final say. Because they need to protest first before they will talk about dialogue. Because some, if you don't protest, they don't understand dialogue. But when you protest, you are very driven home what your demand is. Then during the dialogue, paper will be signed and they will implement what they sign.
So in your view, what's the best way? Protest, dialogue, what do you think is the best way to go?
The two will go in hand, because sometimes you need to protest, is the truth. While sometimes you need to go for dialogue. But they say dialogue is the best among the two, but sometimes they go in hand.
When you talk about protest, let's look at it from two angles now. Like what just happened recently. Is it that kind of riot you're talking about, or peaceful protest?
No, in Edo State, it's political. It was being sponsored by people. It's political in Edo State. The last riot.
Let's not go to that. Let's look at youth energy. How can we harness the energy of youth towards, you know, making our country or our state a better state?
We can do that by involving the youth.
In what way?
If you want to involve the youth, we have many ways to involve the youth. During this policy making, the youth can be involved during policy making, during maybe economical encouragement, and so on and so forth.
When you say economical encouragement, I don't quite get that.
No, when you say economical encouragement, is when you give them opportunity, you give them jobs, job opportunity, where to make their money. Because if you are making money on your own, you will not think about the government. That is the truth.
Okay, does youth participation risk being manipulated by political interests, and how can young people guard against this?
They can guard against it when they come out to vote in election day, and also when they go out to register for their voters card. Because if you have your voters card, that is your power to change any government that is not working. If you come out, at least they go during the registration. Now registration is on. The youth should go and get their PVC, register and get their PVC. During the election, you should come out and speak with one voice with their PVC. Okay,
when you say come out to speak with their PVC. Now, looking ahead, what practical steps are needed to ensure that today's youth become great leaders of tomorrow? Because do you think the youths that we have now are ready to be leaders of tomorrow? What can we do, you know, to make them, you know, sit up and know that they can be credible leaders of tomorrow?
What the government will do is to call them for dialogue, which I ever said. Then the policy give them room, like what Modepolo is doing. You see within me, you see that the youth is surrounding himself with youth, right from the digital deputy governor, the SSG. You see that he's surrounding himself with youth because you understand the power of youth. That is why you see him going with the youth. Even last time, if you watch the TV, you see him going with the youth to check roads, because you understand that the youth are the one driving this economy. They have the power, they have the goal. That's why if you have the energy, if you give them the room, if you give them the maybe policy, you tell them, okay, let's go to House of Assembly, pass social law, maybe from this year to this year, give them seats from each state, at least to the way women are fighting for their percentage, for them to be in the House of Assembly. The youth can also fight for their own percentage, for them to be there also and have voice to speak for the other ones at home.
Okay, now, before I let you go, what advice do you have for the youths in Edo State, you know? What advice generally would you like to give the youth?
The advice I have for the youth in Edo State: don't be politically downgraded. Don't let these people to use you. When
you say downgraded, how do you mean?
What you mean? Some people are in abroad sponsoring people here over here because of maybe peanuts. At the end of the month, they can give them 10,000 naira, and that 10,000 naira, some people is like 1 million to some persons that are not working, that are not fighting for their ends means. If you just give them that 10,000 naira, they can do the undo, like what they just did. That is why if you fight for yourself, work for yourself, do things that will not go against the law, at least with time, people will see you exploring.
Okay, I want to thank you so very much for coming on EBS tonight, and many thanks for lending your voice here.
Thank you, man.